initial impressions of my first drives in my E39 BMW M5 that has just been completely and entirely restored, with the exception of the air conditioning compressor, which is whining like crazy. I wish I knew that before I put it all back together, because it would have been a hell of a lot easier to put the air conditioning compressor in when the engine was out. So clutch feels good, brakes feel good. Brakes are still a little bit on the squishy side, which quite honestly is just probably the fault of my own. Having bled the brakes twice now, I probably need to bleed them a third time. Second gear's a little bit tough to get into there, but once the engine and transmission warm up, it'll be just beautiful. So I'm just running an errand right now, and let me tell you, this car is so comfortable to be in, just driving around locally running errands. It's smooth. Whoa. Sometimes that was driver error. Transmission feels extraordinarily tighter than it was before. Before there was a lot of slop, and it's still got a considerably long throw, but it's shorter than stock, or shorter than it was before for me, because I put in an E60 shifter, which fits the same car and just happens to have a slightly shorter throw than the stock E39 shifter. The engine now revs with such ease, and that has a lot to do with both the lightened pistons that were put in during my engine rebuild, as well as my lightened flywheel, which was put in during the rebuild as well. I do hear a little noise coming from the transmission. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It only happens under load or under acceleration. I do not hear it when I'm just coasting, and I do not hear it when I'm in neutral or the clutch is in. And I'm not sure what that's about. I do have a small leak, and I'm not sure if that's coming from the rear main seal or if it's coming from the transmission. That's yet to be determined. I'm not driving the car like crazy right now. I'm just enjoying driving it comfortably, and it's perfectly comfortable to drive. Quite honestly, I'm so distracted with the AC compressor whine that it's a little hard to concentrate on anything else other than the things I've already mentioned. But the car's tight, it's nimble, it's just fantastic to drive. It feels better than I remember it, and it should, because I have all new suspension bushings, new wheel bearings. It should feel a Okay, done with my errand. When I was doing my restoration of the car, I did raise the front end a little bit, which I really didn't want to do because the car looked so good as it was. But I am really glad I did, because I'm not as worried about going into and out of steep inclines anymore. Like I'm really worried about that in my Porsche. I scrape everything in my Porsche, and I hate that about that car, and that's why I don't like driving that car around town or running errands with that car. The car does feel a little tighter, but it's not, the difference is not drastic. I'm not even sure I can say that for sure, but it does feel tighter, and it should. And who's to say how much of that is actually the fact that I had bad bushings in the car before? The clutch is easy to operate. Steering feels tight on this. The steering's heavier than I remember. It just tends to be heavier than most cars, in fact, I would say, but I enjoy it nonetheless. There's that naturally aspirated power. So I'm about to do my oil change and then drive the car as it's supposed to be driven and really drive it like I stole it, but I'm not right now, and trust me, I'm exhibiting a lot of restraint not to really try to push this car, because I want to really bad, but I'm not. I'm still running mineral oil, and I'm gonna wait until I'm on synthetic to really push the engine. So that I am not really pushing the car real hard right now, it's hard to comment on the speed as compared to what I remember. So the engine should have more power now than it did prior to my rebuild. That is the thinnest oil I've ever seen. Look at that. Run out of there. That's mineral oil.